Tony Rumble went into this class of 2008, which does my heart so good because that's the year that Joe inducted me as well. Tony influenced a lot of careers, and I want to just call out a couple of other Hall of Famers. They've already been mentioned enough. They're the stars of the show. Brickhouse Baker, class of 2008. One of my dearest friends in the entire world, Jose Perez, also class of 2008. And also in attendance from the class of '08, right here in the front row, ladies and gentlemen, she competed for IWCCW. She competed for Johnny Powers, IWA. By God, she competed for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Miss Sandy Starr right here in the front row. Like the Punisher said, man, pay your respect. Pay your respect to those that pave the way for those that are making their journey into the world of pro wrestling. Our next inductee is a Ring of Honor original, and unfortunately, this is the first of two inductees that will be inducted posthumously, and that is the late John Xavier. And here to induct John Xavier, my roommate, one of my roommates for the evening, Kurt Adonis is the other one. Ladies and gentlemen, from the land of 1,000 corpses, New England icon, 2014 inductee himself. Please welcome Mr. Ron, by God, Zombie.
That's not my ringing music. Before we go any further, the best in the business, Rich Palladino, come on. I'm honored to be standing up here for the fourth time. I was inducted in 2014. I inducted Purdy Kurdian. I inducted Dylan Cajun, and now it's my honor to induct John Xavier into the class of 2023. I'm just going to share a few stories of personal about John. I first met John in 97, 98. I had a lot of concussions. I don't remember dates. I was working for WrestlePalooza in New Britain, Connecticut. He was brought there by my friend Tony DeVito. Tony introduced me as his student, John Xavier, and he'd be working him that night. A little bit more from Tony in a few. The night goes on, I'm sitting in the locker room, and here comes DeVito and Xavier back in the locker room, and Xavier is now just speaking in Spanish to a bunch of non-Spanish speaking people. And then he keeps asking Tony, who's this girl? Tony looked at him and said, John, she came with you. And I asked Tony, what the hell is going on? And Tony said, well, I caught him with a chair shot. And knowing now that he was probably concussed, we thought it was funny at the time, not so funny now knowing what we know. So young guys, don't take unprotected chair shots. You might end up in a locker room with a girl, you have no idea who it is. So, as you all know, Xavier went on to become the second ever Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. But our paths have crossed through time from Jersey All Pro Wrestling to Blue Meanies 3PW Wrestling, but we really connected again with Mike Lombardi's Northeast Pro Wrestling. Xavier was the champion when I came on board to NEW, and he was unstoppable. He was running through everybody. You know, the likes of AJ Styles, Christian Cage, and just to name a few. Then I got the call that I would be facing Xavier for the title. I was excited because NEW was a promotion that didn't want me. Exact quote, I believe, was, "He can't work, all he could do is bleed." Well, I'm the longest tenured wrestler for NEW currently. So now I'm going to share the ring with Xavier, and I'm excited. And we want to make the match special. So we set out to find some toys to play with, and we didn't bring anything with us, but we went around the school seeing what we could find, and I liberated a table. And this wasn't your regular plywood table or particle board table. It was pretty thick plywood, but we were convinced we could break it. The finish was going to be, I hit him with the Soul Crusher DDT off the apron through the table. Sounds legit. We hit that table and bounced off like super balls. We're both laying on the ground trying to figure out what the hell just happened. And I get word from the ref John says we're breaking the table. This table is unbreakable. So what do? I throw it in the ring, I prop it in the corner, and then I hit John with the DDT on again, and we bounce off it again. Not a splinter, nothing. I reached down, I hooked him as hard as I possibly could because I knew the table already beat us. We had to go home. And my tablet went off, excuse me. And that was one of the toughest, hard-hittingest matches I ever had. And it was one of the biggest eruptions I ever had. And it was all thanks to John, and I'll love him dearly for that. But as I said, that was probably the hardest hitting match I ever had. That was until the rematch. The rematch comes, and a fan brought a galvanized garbage can. Sure, let's use this. I get hit with it, right eyebrow busts open. I get hit with it again, left eyebrow busts open. I'm seeing red everywhere. The finish comes, John's going to spare me through a table that will cooperate, but I cut him off with the garbage can lid. I hit him with the DDT, I pin him, and I see blood everywhere. I think it's mine. Then I look at the top of his head, split wide open. It's like, oops. We get to the back, and everybody's, oh, poor John, poor John. I'm like, he got me twice. I only got him once. What about poor me? But definitely wouldn't have it any other way. I've got a few words from the person that should be up here right now, Tony DeVito, who couldn't make it with us tonight. He's in Florida, and he's a newly grandfather as of this week. No need to chair, that just means he's old. John was the first person I ever trained in the professional wrestling business. He came to me as a 15-year-old living in Queens, New York. My school was in Newburgh, New York, about 70 miles from his house. Every Saturday, John would take the train from Queens to Newburgh, and probably for 4 hours straight, he would take a beating and come back every Saturday for more. He was determined to make it in the wrestling business, and I say he succeeded. He was a second ever Ring of Honor world champion, and I was so proud of him for that accomplishment and the rest of his accomplishments. When John passed, it devastated me. A kid I watched grow up, helped along the way, and he was taken way too early. John, I love you. May you rest in peace. I last saw John at an NEW event that he brought his son to just to say hi to the boys. It was on one of Kurt's sabbaticals from NEW, so we took a picture together and sent it to Kurt. Little did I know that was going to be the last time I would see him. I leave you all with this. Cherish the times we have together like this. The wrestling world is a crazy family, and you don't know when it could be the last time you're going to see one of your brothers or sisters. Enjoy our time together, and let's hear it for the 2023 New England class of Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and let's hear it for John Xavier. that's over, I could start doing this.
I thought that was mine. Enjoy, my friend, my roommate. I love you, Ron Zombie. Give it up for Ron Zombie and John Xavier. We love you, dude.